You are not welcome at the house for the holidays. Your sister needs a peaceful environment, my mother stated, delivering a sentence that would permanently dismantle my understanding of unconditional love. Antore, currently 32, 5. Years prior, a single phone call 3 days before Thanksgiving ruined me. No genuine reason, no remorse, just a family gate slammed in my face after 27 years of attempting to fit in. Consequently, I spent that holiday dining solo at a Boston eatery, fighting back tears over roasted turkey while observing happy clans celebrating around me. I never imagined the strangers dining at the adjacent table would evolve into the parents I had always craved. I never guessed that half a decade later, they would be announced at my nuptials as the parents of the bride, while my biological creators stood watching from the sidelines, uninvited, realizing they had been entirely superseded in every way. That can't stop. Before diving into the full story, please press like and subscribe to Winds of Thought, but only if you value finding where you truly belong. Also, tell me in the comments, where in the world are you viewing this from right now? Let's rewind to the conversation that altered my trajectory. I recall my exact position when the mobile rang. November 21st, 72 hours pre-Thanksgiving. I stood in my compact Boston studio amidst partially packed luggage and the aroma of a spice candle I lit to force some festive cheer. I had already purchased my non-refundable flight to Connecticut. Mom's ID lit up the display. I grinned, answering immediately. Hi, Mom. I was just getting ready to tour. Her tone was monotonous, frigid. I have something to tell you. My gut tightened. That specific pitch never signaled good news. What is it? Is Dad all right? Your father as well? A hesitation. Listen, I've been reflecting and you shouldn't come visit this year. I actually chuckled, assuming it was a prank. Excuse. Victoria doesn't need drama. She is expecting again and requires calm. I clenched the device. Drama? What sort of drama? I haven't spoken to Victoria in months. Precisely. Mom's voice turned stony. Let's maintain that distance. You know how I get? My voice fractured. Mom, I literally just asked her a year ago why I wasn't invited to her shower. That isn't drama. That is an inquiry. See, that is exactly my point. You always make situations about yourself. I stood paralyzed, observing snow descending beyond the glass. 27, and my mother was banning me from Thanksgiving because I once questioned my own exclusion. Mom, I have a ticket. Get a refund. Her command offered no flexibility. Victoria is pregnant. She needs zero stress. Do you comprehend? The call ended. I comprehended fully. I had always served as the convenient offering. I wish I could claim this was unprecedented, but as I slumped on my mattress staring at the invalid boarding pass, memories surged like a montage of letdowns. Take my 16th birthday. I had planned a modest gathering with 3 best friends for months. Mom promised cake and bowling. However, that morning, Victoria called sobbing because she failed a math exam and required emotional bolstering. My celebration was scrapped. We spent the afternoon comforting my sister instead. Don't be theatrical, Torre. Your sister needs us. We can celebrate later. We never did. Then came my university commencement. I had toiled endlessly for that day, 4 years of sleepless nights and odd jobs. I was the family's first honors graduate. Walking that stage, I scanned the audience for my parents. Their chairs sat vacant. They arrived 2 hours late. Victoria had a standard prenatal appointment that apparently couldn't wait. You understand, honey. Your sister's baby takes precedence over a ceremony, precedence over me. That was the subtext. That was always the subtext. I learned young that voicing hurt only exacerbated things. Stop being sensitive. Why can't you be happy for her? So I ceased complaining. I shrank. I became quieter. I reasoned that if I was agreeable enough, simple enough, invisible enough, perhaps I would finally merit their affection. Sitting in a chilly apartment with a wasted ticket, the reality finally hit. No amount of small would ever suffice. I doubted my father. I don't know why. Maybe a fragment of me still hoped he would defend me just once. He answered on the fourth ring. Hey, kid. His tone was guarded. He knew. Dad, did Mom speak to you? Silence. I heard the television football, likely. She mentioned it, and you agree with this? You don't think I should be permitted at Thanksgiving with my family? A longer pause. You know how your mother gets, Torre? She's trying to keep peace dot by banning me. It's not peace, dad dot. It's not like that dot. Then what is it like? Because from here, it looks like you are all choosing Victoria again. Quiet. I could hear his respiration. I could visualize him in his recliner, rubbing his temples, wishing to vanish from the conflict. Dad, do you want me there? 5 seconds. 10. He cleared his throat. I think it is best if you listen to your mother this time. Something inside me went mute. Not sorrow, not rage, just a vacuum. Okay, Dad, Torre, don't go, like I said, okay. I disconnected. He didn't ring back. I sat as twilight fell, watching shadows elongate across the floor. My father had an opportunity to pick me, to utter a single word of defense. He chose silence. He always occupied the middle ground, which I realized meant he stood on their side. But as darkness fell, a quiet resolve settled too. If I wasn't welcome at their feast, I would create my own. Thanksgiving morning was gray and brisk. I awoke to the noise of my neighbors' relatives arriving overhead footsteps, laughter, the muffled warmth of chatter. The aroma of sage stuffing drifted through the vents. I brewed instant coffee and sat by the window, watching flakes coat the deserted street. My phone remained dormant. No calls, no texts, not even a holiday wish from my kin. At noon, I made the error of checking social media. Victoria had uploaded a picture. The entire clan around the dining table, Mom, Dad, Victoria, her husband, and their toddler in a turkey sweater, all beaming. The caption, so thankful for family. These people matter most. I zoomed in. 4 adults, 1 child, 5 chairs. There wasn't even a vacant spot where I should have sat. They hadn't just left me out. They had edited me out of reality. I shut the app, staring upward. I considered ordering takeout and staying in bed. That is what I earned, right? A pathetic meal. Alone in the dark. That is what the dramatic daughter receives, but something internal rebelled. No, I would not let them win. I would not let their rejection mold me into the bitter, dramatic mess they claimed I was. I grabbed my jacket. If I was eating dinner solo, I would do it somewhere with actual cuisine, with light, with vitality. I just needed an open venue. Harborview. Grill was a classic Boston staple, dark timber, brass accents, cloth napkins, and table candles. Crucially, it remained open on Thanksgiving. Walking in, the warmth struck me physically. The scent of roasted fowl and fresh yeast rolls, the clinking of silverware and everywhere families. Couples, grandparents, loud groups of friends. The room vibrated with belonging. Asterisk, asterisk, the hostess eyed me with pity. Just one? Just one. She seated me at a tiny two-top in the corner, wedged between the kitchen and a massive group occupying 3 combined tables. I could practically touch their elbows. Your server will be with you. I opened the menu. Feigning that this was voluntary, the family beside me was celebrating vigorously. An elderly couple at the head, a middle-aged pair with kids, and a younger man around 30 making everyone chuckle. 3 generations. They passed platters seamlessly. They interrupted one another with the familiarity of deep love. Watching them peripherally, I felt a crack in my chest. This is what family is meant. To resemble the server brought bread, the Thanksgiving special. Yes, please that I would survive this. I would be fine. I wasn't fine. The plate arrived, golden skin, cranberry garnish, perfect potatoes. It looked like a stock image. I couldn't taste a bite. I pushed food around, trying to avert my gaze from the neighbors, trying not to visualize. My own relatives in Connecticut passing gravy without a thought for the discarded daughter. Suddenly, I grasped the truth I'd evaded for decades. This wasn't about Thanksgiving. This wasn't about Victoria's baby or mom's peace. This was a structural pattern. I had spent 27 years contorting myself to earn a seat, swallowing hurt, apologizing for emotions, staying silent until I exploded only to be labeled too much, and the result? A corner table, a solitary meal, an Instagram photo with no missing chair. If I continued shrinking, eventually there would be nothing left to shrink. Tears spilled before I could halt them. I turned toward the glass, hoping for invisibility. I pressed the napkin to my eyes, trying to vanish. Honey, I froze. A woman's voice, warm, worried. Are you okay? I looked up. The matriarch from the adjacent table stood there. Silver hair, compassionate eyes, a face etched with a lifetime of listening. She looked at me like I existed. I'm fine, I lied. Allergies. She raised a knowing eyebrow. Allergies rarely cause people to weep into linen on Thanksgiving. I let out a wet half-laugh sound that obvious. Only to someone paying attention. She was gentle but sharp. I'm Eleanor. Torre. Well, Torre. She glanced at her clam, then back. Nobody. Should dine alone today. Why don't you join us? I shook my head instantly. Oh, no. I couldn't intrude. You aren't intruding. Uninviting. She grinned. There is a distinction. I appreciate it, but my husband tells awful jokes. She continued, ignoring my protest, and my son Marcus tries to spark political debates. You might as well come suffer with us, from the big table. The older man waved. She won't accept no. Trust me, 43 years and I haven't won an argument yet. The younger man, Marcus, smirked. He's accurate. I looked at my cold food, my empty table, my tear-dampened napkin. Then I looked at Eleanor Morrison and her family that somehow had space for a stray, okay, I heard myself say. I'm sure, Eleanor said, placing a hand on my shoulder. Come on. We just uncorked more wine and have excessive pie. I stood on trembling legs, unaware that this minor act of kindness from a stranger was about to rewrite my entire destiny. They made space like I had always belonged. A chair appeared. A plate was handed over. Before I could sit, I held a wine glass and a fresh roll. I'm Richard, the older man said, gripping my hand. This is Eleanor, our son Daniel, his wife Sarah, their kids Emma and Lucas, and our youngest, Marcus. Hi. I waved awkwardly. I'm Torre. Thank you for What do you do, Torre? Daniel asked, passing potatoes. Graphic designer, freelance. Wonderful, Sarah said. I can't even draw a stick figure, Mom. Stick figures are simple, Emma, about 8, chimed in. Even I can do that. Laughter rippled around the table, not at anyone, but with each other. A foreign frequency, Marcus caught my eye. He was dark-haired with an easy grin. Warning, Dad is prepping a joke. I am not. Richard protested. He is. Eleanor confirmed. Richard smirked. Fine. What did the turkey say to the computer? Dad, no. Daniel groaned. Google, Google, Google. The kids giggled. Sarah rolled her eyes. Marcus shook his head, and I laughed. A genuine laugh. Richard raised his glass. To unexpected guests who complete the table. We toasted. I looked around at these strangers and felt a sensation absent for years. Warmth. Acceptance. After the meal, while kids played and men debated sports, Eleanor slid into the chair beside me. How are you really? Better. This is lovely. Thank you. You're welcome. She sipped her wine. But that isn't what I asked. Her directness compelled honesty. I'm okay. Just a tough holiday. Do you want to explain why you were here solo? I hesitated. The truth felt pathetic. My mom called 3 days ago. Told me not to come. My sister is pregnant and didn't want drama. Drama? Is that what they call it when you ask questions they dislike? Eleanor nodded slowly. It's fine. I added quickly. I mean, it's not, but it is not fine. Eleanor's voice was firm. Can I share something from 30 years as a family attorney? I blinked. You're a lawyer, retired family law. I have seen every dysfunction imaginable. I have learned that those accusing you of drama are usually the ones manufacturing it. They just need a scapegoat. The words hit like a physical impact. You aren't the problem. Torre, you never were. I couldn't speak. I had needed those words my entire life. Hey, quickly, if you are watching and have ever been blamed for drama just for seeking fairness, I see you. Have you ever been the family scapegoat? Type your story in the comments. And if this narrative resonates, hit like so others find it. Back to the night that changed everything. The evening wound down. Pie was served. Coffee poured. When the bill arrived, I reached for my wallet, but Richard stopped me. Our treat. Consider it a tradition. We buy dinner for new friends. As we gathered coats, Eleanor pressed a card into my palm. Cream-colored, elegant text. Eleanor Morrison, J.D., retired. If you ever need to talk, call me. I mean it. Thank you. Richard appeared. Sunday dinners every week at our place. You are welcome anytime. That is so kind, but I see OULD in single quotes T. She kid. Marcus said, stepping up, and she should. Mom never says things she doesn't mean. Eleanor squeezed my hand. Family isn't blood. Torre, it's showing up. I stood in the lobby holding a business card from a woman I met 3 hours prior, receiving an open invitation from a clan I had no claim to. Outside, snow fell harder. I watched the Morrisons leave Richard, helping Eleanor, Daniel herding kids, Marcus looking back expectantly. Okay, I said. Maybe I'll stop by. Eleanor smiled like she knew I would. I had no clue I had just met my future kin. Didn't go the next Sunday. It felt too forward, but Eleanor called to check in. By December, I accepted. Standing on the Morrison porch in Brookline, I hesitated for 5 minutes. The Victorian house glowed with warmth. Eleanor opened the door before I could flee. There you are. She hugged me naturally. We saved you a seat. That was the first of many. Over 6 months, I became a fixture. Richard taught me chess. I lost constantly. Eleanor shared her secret pie recipe. Daniel's kids called me Aunt Torre unprompted, and Marcus ... Marcus and I became real friends. We texted at 2 a.m., argued about films, and gravitated toward each other. I heard nothing from my biological family. No texts, no cards. For the first time, I stopped noticing. I wasn't performing for crumbs of love anymore. I was just loved. One spring afternoon, Eleanor and I sat on the porch. Have you heard from your parents? She asked. No, I haven't reached out either. Do you want to? I reflected. Sometimes late at night, I think about explaining myself. But then I remember there is nothing to explain. She knows what she did. She just doesn't think it was wrong. That is a hard acceptance. It is. I keep waiting for guilt, but ... Eleanor sipped her tea. In my career, I helped people find legal recognition for the families they built, not the ones they inherited. I looked at her. Meaning, just that the law recognizes what the heart knows. Family can be created. There are ways to make those bonds official. I didn't fully grasp her hint yet. Something to ponder, she said, patting my hand. Her words took root. 2 years post-Thanksgiving, Marcus and I weren't just friends. We were something more that had grown so gradually it felt inevitable. He took me back to Harborview Grow. This feels circular, I noted in the booth. That's the point. Marcus was nervous. I wanted to bring you to the start. Start of what? He took my hand. Torai, I've been trying to articulate this for months. I want to spend my life choosing you daily. My heart halted. I know your family hurt you. I know you fear being let down. But I'm not going anywhere. He produced a velvet box. Tori, Thatcher, will you marry me? I looked at this man who had been my friend, confidant, and rock. Yes, the restaurant applauded. I hadn't noticed the audience. Then I saw them in the corner, Richard and Eleanor, champagne ready, beaming. Mom couldn't resist. Marcus laughed. Was officially becoming a Morrison. Planning began instantly. But one detail kept me awake, the wedding invitations. Parents of the bride. I couldn't write Robert and Linda Thatcher. They hadn't spoken to me in years. They hadn't earned that title. Pacing the Morrison living room, Eleanor found me. I explained. The dilemma. She sat down. Remember what I said about legal recognition? That family is created. Adult adoption, Eleanor said softly. It is a legal process where a consenting adult is adopted by another family. New birth certificate, new next of kin, everything. My pulse raced. That is real? Very. I have done it many times. I looked at the woman who had fed me, taught me, and mothered me since that lonely night. Eleanor, my voice cracked. Would you and Richard consider ... She pulled me into her arms. We have considered you our daughter since that first dinner. We were waiting for you to be ready. The process took months of paperwork. But when the judge signed the order, I legally became Tori Morrison. I had a new birth certificate, a new family on paper and in spirit. We sent invitations. Parents of the bride, Richard and Eleanor Morrison. I should have known the Thatchers would find out. 3 months pre-wedding, Victoria texted. Did you know Tori is getting married? I blocked her. Then Mom called 5 times. I ignored them. Finally, a text. Why didn't you tell us? We're your family. Call me. I deleted it. 3 years of silence. And now they claim me. I wasn't angry. I was exhausted. Marcus found me. Everything okay? Bio family found out. What do you want to do? Nothing. I owe them nothing, but the Thatchers don't accept silence. She arrived at my apartment on a Tuesday. I opened the door without checking. Tori. Linda stood there, looking older, grayer, but wearing that same disappointed expression. Mom. The word felt foreign. What are you doing here? She pushed past me. Getting married without telling your mother? We haven't spoken in 3 years. Whose fault is that? Yours. You told me not to come home. That was one holiday. You can't still be upset. I'm not upset. I've moved on. Linda scanned the room, seeing photos of me with the Morrisons. Who are these people? My family. I am your family. You were. You chose not to be, remember? Victoria didn't want drama. That was years ago. I want an invitation. No. Excuse me. You don't get to erase me and then demand a seat. Leave. The wedding day was golden in Napa Valley. In the suite, Eleanor adjusted. My veil? You look beautiful. I looked at the mirror. The woman reflected was stronger than the girl in the restaurant. On the vanity lay the program, parents of the bride, Richard and Eleanor Morrison. Underneath, the family who chose her. Are you nervous? Eleanor asked about marrying Marcus. No, about interruptions? A little. I had hired security. Whatever happens, we chose you. Always remember that. I love you, Mom. I love you, daughter. The ceremony was perfect. Richard walked me down the aisle. Vows made everyone cry. When Marcus slipped the ring on, I felt a puzzle piece click. The reception was swinging when security found me, Mrs. Morrison. Two people at the entrance claimed to be your parents. I expected this. Marcus stepped up. I'll handle it. No, I will. I could have ejected them, but something said let them see. Let them see what they discarded. Let them in, I told the guard. But seat them in the back. Linda and Robert Thatcher entered, looking uncertain, scanning the 100 guests celebrating the daughter they ignored. The MC stepped to the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue, I'd like to introduce the parents of the bride. I watched Linda straighten, preparing to wave. Richard and Eleanor Morrison. The room erupted. Richard and Eleanor stood, waving. Across the room, Linda's face went white. She grabbed Robert's arm. What did he say? Guests cheered, unaware of the tension. To them, the Morrisons were simply my parents. Linda realized the truth. She had been replaced. Officially, she pushed through the crowd, reaching me as applause died. What is going on? Who are they? My legal parents, I said calmly. I was adopted 2 years ago. You what? You can't replace us. I didn't. You abandoned me. First thought we never. You told me not to come home. You chose Victoria. For 27 years. Conversations nearby ceased. The room sensed the conflict. That's not fair. Linda hissed. Fair? I didn't raise my voice. I spent my life trying to earn a place. I got an Instagram photo without me. 3 years of silence. I am done. I am still your mother, not legally. I showed my rings, not emotionally. Not anymore. This is humiliating. She whispered, noticing the eyes. Then leave. You crashed my wedding. You aren't the victim. Then my father spoke. Torre, his voice was broken. I'm sorry. I looked at Robert. He was weeping. I should have done better. I was a coward. I let them treat you that way. I know you're sorry, Dad, but sorry doesn't give me back my childhood. I know. He nodded. Linda glared at Eleanor. You stole my daughter. Eleanor remained calm. I didn't steal anything. Richard stepped forward. He was never confrontational, but his voice was steel now. I think you need to leave. Who are you? Linda snapped. I am her father. Legally and in every way that matters. Richard shook his head. We didn't steal her. You threw her away. We picked her up. Linda flinched. 5 years ago, she sat alone on Thanksgiving because you didn't want her. We invited her in. We treated her like a human. She told us she couldn't remember feeling wanted. We didn't steal her. We showed her what family looks like. The rest was her choice. He signaled security. Escort them out. Wait. I held up a hand. I walked to my bio parents. Mom, Dad, I don't hate you. You're just people who couldn't love me the way I needed. You chose comfort over me, but I've made peace with who I am. And I am someone who deserves to be chosen first. I gestured to the Morrisons. They chose me. And I choose them. Goodbye. As they were escorted out, the guests applauded not for the drama, but for me. The rest of the night was pure joy. But the next morning, my phone exploded. Extended family texts calling me ungrateful. I deleted them. Then a text from my Aunt Patricia. Torre, I heard what happened. I'm proud of you. You deserve better. I typed back, thank you. I blocked the rest. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived from Victoria. Dear Torre, Mom told me what happened. She is devastated. Dad is broken. I know we had issues, but they were just trying to keep peace. You always made things difficult with your questions. I hope when you have kids, you understand why Mom made her choices. We still love you, even if we aren't good enough. I read it twice. Then I put it in a drawer. What did she say? Marcus asked. Nothing new. She still doesn't get it. And it isn't my job to make her. A year later, Marcus and I bought a house near the Morrisons. I was pregnant, Eleanor cried. Richard tried not to, setting up the nursery. Eleanor asked about names. Emily, I said. Emily Grace Morrison. That is beautiful. The Morrison part. Is non-negotiable. I want her to carry the name of the family that chose her mother. Eleanor hugged me. You know, that night at the restaurant, I just saw someone who needed kindness. You saved my life. No, sweetheart. You saved yourself. 5 years to the day after dining alone, I sat at the head of a chaotic Morrison Thanksgiving table. Emily was being passed around. Richard was sneaking pie. Toast time. Eleanor clapped. Torre. I stood holding my daughter. 5 years ago, I sat alone wondering if I was unlovable. Then a stranger said, no one should eat alone. And everything changed. I raised my glass to family. Not the one we're born into, but the one we build. The one that chooses us back to family. Later, on the porch with Marcus and sleeping Emily, I looked at the stars. Do you think about them? Marcus asked sometimes. I wonder if they change. Do you think they have? People rarely do. But I don't have room to be sad anymore. My life is too full. I'm glad you survived. He kissed me. I held Emily close. I promise, I whispered to her, you will never have to earn my love. You will always know you are wanted. If you have ever been the family scapegoat, know this. It is not you. You deserve to be chosen first, not as an afterthought. Family isn't DNA. It is the people who show up when you are crying in a restaurant and offer you a seat. If those meant to love you treat you like a burden, you have the right to walk away. That isn't revenge. It's survival. I found my people. I hope you find yours. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell on Winds of Thought. And tell me, have you ever had to cut off family to save yourself? I read every comment. Until next time, remember you deserve to be chosen.